Hey everyone, thank you for watching Infinite Realms. Today I'm going to take a look at what the hell is going on with the WWE. Now, I grant you, I'm one of those guys, I almost refuse to say WWE, but I'm just saying it for reference's sake so you don't think I'm talking about, way back in the Attitude Era. Okay, so I'm sure everyone knows this, but I'm going to go over it again just to be concise. Vince McMahon, who has run the WWE and WWF forever, got caught up in a sex scandal. And did anybody look at the TV and go, no shit, when that one came on? Uh, and essentially, there's what's being said is that he used company money to bribe certain women to not talk about his improprieties. Did not surprise me in the slightest bit. And there is a federal investigation going on here that, misappropriation of funds. Yeah. So Vince quote unquote retires from the WWE. He steps away. He goes away. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes Triple H to run creative, and he hires Shawn Michaels to be the vice president of talent relations, and somehow DX actually really did take over the WWE. It was a really weird thing. And Stephanie, his daughter, remember her, the loudmouth from the old days, she steps in as a co-CEO. So, yeah, all of a sudden, out of the blue, out of nowhere, Vince says, I'm coming back. I should have just weathered the storm. I'm coming back. And people are like, what? And then Stephanie steps away officially yesterday, I think. And by the time this video airs, there are probably 10 things they're going to have. I know there are clickbait articles everywhere going on that Disney has bought WWE, that the Saudi Arabians have bought WWE, and it's just like, oh, God. So, yeah, what is happening with the WWE? Basically, here's the way I see it. And, as much as people are going to bemoan me for this, I'm just going to say it. People always say Vince McMahon is this great genius. Okay, guys, if you start digging a little bit into WWE and some of the worst storylines ever, they all came from Vince. Vince usually has several good people around him going, Vince, we should do this. And much of the time, Vince goes, oh yeah, okay. But then he goes and will totally screw something up. The man has shoved Roman Reigns down our throats for 15 years. I want to make that clear. 15 years. And nobody has accepted this guy. John Cena was not getting over as much as people like to pretend he was. John Cena had pretty much divided the crowd. I mean, if you watch unedited old school WWE events, it was like you would hear equal chance of let's go Cena and Cena sucks. Cena was not as beloved as people want to believe he was. And, you can go in, and the big one is the Katie Vick storyline where it was just tasteless, and Vince tricked, according to the best worded way of this, Vince tricked Triple H into that god-awful climbing into the casket thing by saying, okay, we're going to try it this way, and then we'll try it another way. And after it was done, Vince said, that's a wrap. So, yeah. But, yeah, you can look into it, and I'm going to say this. Vince got lucky several times. He got lucky that WCW got mismanaged and found a storyline that people were compelled by in the Stone Cold versus Mr. McMahon storyline. He got lucky on that one. And because if you look at a lot of what was going on in wrestling at the time, a lot of the stuff in the WWE was not working, except for that and a few other minor storylines. A lot of stuff was not working at that time. In fact, it's all very forgettable. A lot of people look back with rose-colored glasses and, oh, it was the best thing ever. And it was like, it was one or two storylines, and the rest of the show was mediocre. A good way to show this is go back to go to Wrestling Bios and watch Reliving the War. It's really interesting because basically Wrestling Bios runs a comparison of both shows, Nitro and Raw, and you kind of see where the chinks were in the armor, because you never hear anybody talk about, the NWA invasion. Nobody talks about that. And stuff like that you kind of have forgotten about, and it's like, oh yeah, that was going on during this, and it was going over, and it was flat as could be. And of course, I can go on and on about that. The other one that Vince got lucky with was that stupid AOL Time Warner merger. Because if that hadn't happened, and they hadn't basically forced Ted Turner out of his own company, Ted Turner would have held on to wrestling with his dying breath. He would have been Charlton Heston with the cold dead hands holding up a WCW banner. Okay? Ted really held on to wrestling, and the reason being why, if you look back at the history of Ted's media empire, it was built on that Saturday night 6:05 time slot of NWA, which did become WCW once he bought it. And that is it. I mean, oh, he was so good, he beat the competition. He did not beat the competition. The competition was mismanaged to death at that point. AOL was willing to sell it. They wanted to get rid of it. They would have wanted to get rid of it even if it was on top of the game. They just didn't like wrestling. They didn't think wrestling would fit with what they wanted to do. And they were right, it didn't. And they just wanted to get rid of it. And so they did. To the first guy that bought it. Vince. For a dime. He didn't defeat anyone. Okay? It's that simple. He bought it out. Because the company that owned it didn't want it anymore. And they didn't want it at all. It wouldn't have mattered. So, you go back into this, and it's like, what the hell is going on with wrestling right now? And the truth is, nobody knows. I think what we're seeing is, Vince is going to try to take control, and be back on top, be back where he was. Probably is going to blow up in his face, but he won't care. And after that, who knows? I mean, who knows what will happen? There's all kinds of speculation and clickbait and stuff like that. And the truth is, this is one of those stories you got to kind of take with every headline. And when I say headline, every legit headline. And you got to watch where it's coming from. Because believe me, when I saw it, what triggered this was seeing the Saudi Arabia headline today. I looked at it for a minute and I said, this makes absolutely no sense. And, of course, this whole story makes no sense. But looking at it, the closer I looked at it, the more I was like, this is just damn clickbait, and people are just falling for it. Again, as they always do. So I'm not a big fan of it, but, I still wanted to talk about it for a minute and just say something about this crazy WWE crap going on, and wrestling in general. And this is a lot of reasons why I don't watch wrestling anymore, because it's just, the drama behind it is just too much. It's too stupid, and you can't enjoy it. So there you go. Anyway, I might tune in if they ever decide to let Cody Rhodes win the World Championship, but we'll see. All right, that's all I got for today on this. I was just wanting to ramble about it. Thank you for watching Infinite Realms. Don't forget to like and subscribe.